cutting up into small pieces so it'll be easier to cook.
Before I'm just taking off the fat. A little bit of skin turmeric. Scrape
Naturmeqiniqpunga 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 Abadabaduba, abadabaduba, Amos Tumas, Amos Tumas.
Sinakanno tayo sana kayang miutulunga. Duwamin no nakalikudlunga okay ni 6 years tamani laksong. Mana kasi sila kasakpong in nakayaw ka matamana at koyan nami.
Hi, my name is David Erklu, originally from Anglican. As I said, we moved here 6 years ago, and I'm an elder for the Ottawa community.
Good evening and welcome to the 2022 Bishop's Gala. This year we are happy to be supporting the Inuktitut Center for Inuit Children, Youth and Families, and specifically the Urban Elders Program. The Inuktitut Center serves Inuit in the southern urban setting of our city of Ottawa, and it intends to foster strong Inuit children, youth and families by providing opportunities for learning to enhance overall well-being and adaptability and strength within a proud Inuit cultural environment. We have a wonderful program this evening. I know you're going to enjoy it. And our program will begin now with Deborah Tagornik, who is my advisor, my Inuit advisor, and she's going to be lighting a kulik, and she will explain that to us and talk about the rich cultural heritage of her people along the way.
Kaya nami ko ba nga Deborah Tagornik na yang musayak ako ba mi tawag tunga kung may ikit ko yaw lang dapanit kaya ko yaw si magama Anglican ko ang ayok kaila ayok suyok tuanga. My name is Deborah Tagornik. I'm asked here to light the kulik. The meaning of this kulik was used for heat and to cook food with and to light up the kulik. If it wasn't for tending the kulik, we wouldn't be here. And as you can see, we light it from the end and we pass on the flame like we do with elders' knowledge. And it's also a family unit to provide for food for our family. And the men go out hunting to provide for food for their family, and the mother of the camp would tend to the kulik, and she would be making some hot water for a cup of tea, or to make some food for her children. And the north being extreme cold in an igloo, this will be used as a light during dark winter days, and it's also to provide heat. It has multi-purpose. If it wasn't for this lighting of the kulik, we wouldn't have survived the cold, harsh winter life in the Arctic. So for this, I'm happy to share a little bit about the meaning of lighting the kulik. And our Inuit have used this for many years as the men go out providing food. And it would also be used for drying clothes and to make some wonderful food like caribou meat, boiling seal, Minimagda. So for this, we are very happy to be part of this and show you the meaning of the kulak that we use. Inuk dito o kau te yumabasi o na kulak ikum magsakta ka. Atu te katerok si mayo annaw matutog duni was a survival tool. Nikiril ko tiyog dunilu to make food with. Ano gano do panagsigo daw katerok si matluni to dry some clothes. Unwa ko do ko te daw bakluni to keep warm. Amma how much daw bakluni to keep the light, and how we're able to control the flame is using the takuti. This is called the takuti, which tends the flame or pass the flame on to the next wick. My grandparents lived out on their land with snow houses during winter, and during spring and summer there would be some sod house for each, and every hunting season has different seasonal hunting days to harvest proper clothing for everyone from newborn to our hunters. Because of the harsh climate, the women would gather to sew clothing for their husbands and their children, and being the center, the women were responsible for raising children and making sure their husbands are well clothed in order to go out hunting, providing food for the family. So in the winter time, mostly there were some caribou and some polar bear before the hibernation. Springtime was the best time when harvesting season was very plentiful. The men would go by dog team as their mode of transportation. During the winter when they go out seal hunting, it takes a lot of patience for the hunters to go out on the cold, harsh days. The children come into play. The mothers had a role to teach their children at an early age for survival's sake to start sewing clothing, or they would have bilim magsaina, which is to train them in a social gatherings. Everyone was responsible for their own actions, and how Inuit usually handle the family is to learn by mistakes and to encourage the young ones not to give up, but just to keep going and learn from your mistakes and move forward. And these are the principles that we live by as Inuit, because without a strong foundation within partnering and working in harmony, we wouldn't be here in this urban setting as Inuit. So a lot of our principles are to work collaboratively and in harmony as we respect the animals of what we catch. We only take what we can out from the land, from what we eat out there, and work with the environment. You have to have a very careful observation of the weather to know the condition, what it will be, and prepare for it ahead of time. The elders played a lot of role in having to provide advice and suggestions for to raise a capable human being. and it was a survival mode then. And these are the principles that we live by, is to respect one another. We had a very structured survival skills, respecting the land and the environment, and take only what you can take and provide for your own family and other camps as well. And during the time when settlers and whalers and the government, Canadian government officials came, that's when a lot of injustices had happened and severed our way of living in harmony. A lot of children taken away against the parents' will and put them in a Western society which is totally foreign from how we live, and had to be taught a Western way of living, which really totally severed the family kinship and the boundaries, and a lot of pain and suffering had happened during the time of being eradicated, or attempt to eradicate the Inuit in the Arctic, to a point where they used a lot of Inuit living in another part of the Arctic to send them as a human flagpole for Canadian sovereignty's sake, where they located a lot of Inuit to an unknown climate to them. And so there were a lot of dog slaughtering in order to avoid the hunters to get away, or transport their families to get away from the government officials. And the government had an agreement with the different church denominations to come to an agreement to send them to residential schools, which a lot of children were taken away to learn a foreign language, and a lot of abuse of all sorts in different forms that happened. And these were the harshest time for Inuit to go through, and the assimilation policy is still active today. And right now, as we say who we are, we're not going anywhere, and we have survived of where we are, where we were, and faced a lot of injustices throughout. And this is where we are now, as resilient, strong people with no hard feelings, but to work in harmony and to be understood that we have our own way of raising our Inuit family together and working collaboratively with other race, and to take the best of both worlds and come to a common ground to work together towards building new relationships, and to reconcile all the hurts. And this is where the forgiveness comes in. We have strong elders living here in Ottawa, accessing programs and services, whether it be health, education, reducing the high cost of living up north, or it's just too expensive to live up north, where there's a lot of lack of education available for our children due to all the disruptions in our lives. So this is where we are. We have to learn how to live with one another and come up to par with the Western standards, but still live the life of our basic principles, which is to become a capable human being and to work in harmony and collaboratively with others that are willing to become our partners in all sorts of life or healing purposes.
sunshine in the nighttime, a love like this. Tell me why, oh why does the heart resist? Love light in the nighttime, a love like this.
Thanks very much to David Andrew, who is a man after my own heart, spending time in his shop, singing his heart out. So thank you so much, David. We're going to change tone considerably now. And here is a party piece by the wonderful baritone Gary Dahl, accompanied by James Calkin, Director of Music at Christ Church Cathedral.
Hey Gary, what wonderful things did you see on the way in from Chelsea this morning?
Oh boy, the greens are just popping out right now, and this rain has brought in the blossoms. We have a plum tree in our yard. It's a wild plum tree in full bloom, and it's got this amazing smell coming off it now. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
One of the great benefits of supporting the Inuktitut Center is that we are building new relationships with Inuit in the city of Ottawa, between our diocese and the large Inuit population of this city. Mickey Adams is the executive director of the Inuktitut Center, and I had a conversation with her about the center and the work it does and the community it serves. Here's that conversation now. So Mickey, Ottawa has the largest population of Inuit outside of the north. Is that true?
That is indeed correct.
Yeah, and where do people come from?
They would be coming from either 4 of the regions in Nunavut, so whether they're coming down for medical, whether they're coming down for education, or whether they're relocating with their family to provide support while they're going to school. or as well for work.
Right. And you are the executive director of Inuktitut Center for Children, Families, and Youth here in Ottawa. Could you tell us about the work of the center?
Definitely. So yes, I am actually the first Inuk executive director with Inuktitut Center. I started with the center in 2019. I came up from Rankin Inlet, Nunavut, where I spent my entire life. The center provides holistic wraparound programs and services to Inuit children, youth, and their families here in Ottawa.
And are you centered in one building, or do you have programs in different sites in our city?
Actually, due to the ever-increasing Inuit population here in Ottawa, we have had to expand from the 3 buildings to currently we are operating out of 7 locations here in Ottawa, predominantly in the Vanier location.
And where do Inuit live in Ottawa? Are they living primarily in Vanier or throughout different areas in our city?
Actually, it's through our deliveries of our food hampers and activities that we have noticed that Inuit live all across Ottawa.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And on the Quebec side as well, in Gatineau?
That is correct.
Yes.
So Inuktitut serves Inuit children, youth, and families both in Ottawa, and as well we are mandated to serve Inuit across Ontario.
And you're serving all ages, really, aren't you?
That is correct. Inuktitut had first started out predominantly as a Head Start and Child Care program. However, as those children aged, we realized that they needed extra programs and supports to ensure that they were developing their motor skills and their skills as they grow up. So we had started providing youth programs, and then we realized that their parents needed programs and supports as well. So we extended it to their parents, and then that's when we realized that Inuit are a family unit in Inuk culture is very strong. So we want to ensure that we're able to provide services to the whole family, hence being a holistic wraparound service model. Yeah. Inuktitut Center is actually the largest Indigenous organization here in Ottawa that serves the Inuit community.
It often strikes me that a lot of people in the South are not really that familiar with Inuit history or even Inuit culture in some ways. You know, we tend to be more aware of First Nations, but isn't it interesting that right here in our midst, in the middle of our city, there's a very large population of Inuit?
Yes, there is a very large population of Inuit. We estimate roughly around 10,000 Inuit here in the Ottawa, Ontario region. And actually our syllabic system came from the Cree. So it's a very close linked relationship between the Cree and the Inuit for their syllabic system.
Now, does your programming always take place inside, or do you try to get outside sometimes? I know the land is very important to Inuit.
Yes. So as often as we can, when we are provided with access to land, we always try to provide on-the-land culture programming. That is where, if we were up north, all our learning would be on the land, and depending on the season as well. So being on the land and having access to the environment is a missing opportunity here in Ontario for us Inuit, to ensure that we're able to pass on the knowledge of whether it's hunting or making clothing for our children or family members.
I know that country foods are really important. And how do you get country foods here in Ottawa?
Luckily, we're able to order it from up north. So we order our country food from either Pengdoctong, Rankin Inlet, or Iqaluit. We also have access to hunters that are up north that is willing to go out hunting for us, whether we want a seal, caribou, or walrus.
So it really is country food from the north.
Yes, it is.
No chickens.
No. And it goes fast. So once we have an order and Inuit find out, our freezer doesn't last very long. It gets emptied pretty quick.
So are there strong communications amongst the Inuit community here in Ottawa?
Yes, there is. Inuit love to connect all the time, and we love to have gatherings. One of the places that we gather a lot would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, St. Margaret's Parish.
Our own St. Margaret's Church, yeah, in Vanier, yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we have an Inuk priest, Aga Atkutsiak, and she's an important part of your community as well as our community as well.
Yes, she is. She's very valued as a really good community member. Mm-hmm.
A lot of your work would involve more than one generation at one time, I guess. Can you talk a little bit about how you, respecting the fact that the family unit is very important, how do you set up programs so that there's teaching and learning and observing between different generations?
Oh, definitely. So we create Inuit culture within all our programs. So whether it's a child care program, whether it's our healing circles program, or on the land culture program. We love to have elders come on site, COVID pending, to ensure that they are able to pass the teachings and pass the knowledge on to our teachers, and then our teachers to our children or youth. Mm-hmm. So we always try to have elders on site. We always have pictures of animals on site or pictures of our syllabic system on site. Mm-hmm. And there's always a lot of singing as well, singing and dancing.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
In a minute, we'll ask Deborah Tukorna to join us to talk a little bit more about your elders programming and some of the opportunities and challenges that are there. But thank you very much for describing the work of the center.
Yes,
it sounds really exciting and really important work as well, and we're glad to support it in this gala.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're hoping to be able to have a few on-site events this summer. So we're hoping to have extended invitation so you guys will be able to come down and see the center as well.
I look forward to the country food.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Changes that
It's great to feel the wonderful energy of West of the Rock singing Caledonia, a beautiful, beautiful song. Deborah Tukornak is my Inuit advisor. She's also very involved in the Urban Elders program with the Inuktitut. And I spoke with her about elders in the city of Ottawa and the particular work she does with Inuit elders as part of Inuktitut's programming. So Deborah, we know that there is a large population of Inuit here in Ottawa, and we know that there are many elders as well. How did it come to be that elders are such a large and important part of the population of Inuit here in Ottawa?
Elders had moved when their children went to school, and so they followed, or either access health services where it's hard to access health, specialized in the north. So there are various different factors, the reason why they moved here and whatnot, but they made it a home here in Ottawa. I provide service to Inuit elders during the pandemic, providing a cell phone top-ups for them to communicate with their grandchildren and children. And one of the exciting moments we had was providing some laptops so they could go on Zoom in order to connect with the other Zoom, to keep talk about their upbringing, how they were and where they are now. So every elder Zoom meeting we had different themes depending on their conversation, and sometimes to showcase their sewing, whether it be mittens or wall hangings or making hats. They're very talented, so they would show each other what they have done for or what they make for their children or their grandchildren. And we provided a lot of country food deliveries and doing a lot of check-ins to see how they're doing.
Now, are there some elders who themselves would not have been able to receive some of the traditional teachings because of residential schools or other things?
Majority of the elders that I provide service to were either sent to harshest residential schools where they have lost their Inuktitut language or their culture, and by inviting an older adults, older than the elders that we have, would be providing advice and knowledge and revitalize and regain their identity in this way. So yes, during the time, during the pandemic time, we've heard about the unmarked graves that were starting to come about, and that's when a lot of the elders went through very tough flashbacks where we had to carefully provide emotional and mental health support for them. It was very difficult for them to get beaten up for speaking Inuktitut or to practice culture, and they get punished for it. So they put a lot of their shame and guilt and their knowledge and just put it away in fear of getting hurt physically, mentally, or sexually. So that was really difficult for them to start talking about what they know. It's like breaking the barriers of a very hardened rock, and how to break that is to work gently with them and take the layers out like a piece of onion, and to get to the root of the problem, and to make sure that, you know, we're not here to punish you, and this is where we are to listen to you, to overcome that. And then once all those
layers have come about, then they realize, oh, I didn't know I have so much knowledge in this, but because we were suppressed, I wasn't able to pass it on. Now that this is an opportune time before it becomes extinct, they are willing to come together to talk about how to make a capable human being of any race.
Mm-hmm. So the work at Inukatijit, it really allows elders to celebrate all that they've experienced and all the knowledge and to share it with children and others. What's it like to watch an elder who has had those horrible layers peeled away and they have become fully human again to share with children? What's it like to watch?
Sense of pride, and it's starting to plant the seed and to see it grow, and to bring back the child rearing, and how an individual person can work with a partner in order to make a strong foundation, and as a community work through all these hurts and go past and get over the injustices. When they get into that point, they are willing to work well.
I'm really grateful to all of you and to our many supporters who have joined with us at this year's Bishop's Gala to lend our support to the Urban Elders Program of the Inukatijit Center. The city of Ottawa, as we have heard, has the largest population of Inuit outside of the north, and many elders are part of this community that we share here in Ottawa now. Please, if you've not already done so, please consider making a generous donation to help us assist the Urban Elders Program at Inukatijit. This program has no dedicated ongoing funding at this time, so our support is really, really important and will be really helpful. Susna Glukark is an award-winning and beloved Inuk singer, and she has graciously supported our gala by providing us with the video you are about to hear. It is the wonderful hymn, Amazing Grace, sung in Inuktitut.
Tatam namig say maninga piulilaw mga tautung nanga naning mga mana tautuk bunga dusa Tatamilak bunga ayung ningmig tatak tunga Iksinaktud tukunaktud Krimak baka pisuk bunga kay kuling mga di kinapku ikipangan ukaw tiwangalu ayung niti piyak bakan kahit maliglungan dadam namig say maningan piulilaw mga tautung nangan naning mga mana tautung bunga.
I extend my heartfelt and very warm thanks to everyone who has participated in this year's Bishop's Gala. Our auction donors and all those who participated in the auction, the talented individuals who provided entertainment for this evening, our swag bag sponsors and contributors, our ticket promoters and purchasers, our corporate sponsors, and each of you who have shared in watching the gala this year. If you wish to donate, please do so. You still have until Sunday at midnight using the link below to make your donation to this year's gala in support of the Urban Elders Program of the Inuktitut Center here in Ottawa. And may the peace of our Creator be with you and those you love this day and always. Thank you and good night.
As we are distinguishing the flames of the huluk, in the past, when Inuit lived out on the land in the harshest, darkest times, only one flame would be used as a light and warmth overnight. So as I distinguish this, we would leave just either one or two flames burning as our nightlight or to keep warmth. Good night. Sinitya na po si